Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Nick Cosgrove, and I am back with my coaching reality series called From a Coach's Perspective. Today, I want to list off the five biggest nutrition lies that people still believe. Now, if you watch the No Filter Q&A that I post every Monday, or you watch my YouTube shorts, or you go on my Instagram and look at some of my reels, I'm constantly trying to debunk both training and nutrition myths. There's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of diluted information out there. And what I'm trying to do here is give more of an educated explanation behind dietary nutrition, exercise selection, and training sequence, training splits, overall, just how to become more healthy and fit in an educated manner, but also more in a simplified way. I feel that these days people try to overcomplicate shit. And a lot of fitness influencers do this because they're trying to sell their programs, they're trying to sell their nutritional plans, they're trying to sell whatever fitness gimmicks they're trying to promote or pump. I feel like they are just trying to overcomplicate it. And I've always said, if you can keep things simple, it's sustainable. All right. So if you can keep things pretty straightforward, you can keep things like, okay, this is how you're going to train, this is how you're going to eat. It doesn't have to be a one and only way, but if you can simplify it by a step-by-step process, it's more sustainable to follow. Okay. So I'm going to give my five top nutrition myths or nutrition lies that have been passed down in this industry for decades. And I'm going to explain why these are lies, why these are myths, and why I don't believe in utilizing this with any of my clients I work with on nutritional plans. All right. So starting with number one, the biggest nutrition lie that people still believe, eating after 6 p.m. makes you fat. This has been around since I first started as a trainer. Eat at night, you're going to gain weight. Eat carbs after 6, you're going to gain weight. Bullshit, bullshit. The whole ideology behind that was that, oh, well, now you're getting closer to bedtime. You're not as active throughout the day, so you're not burning as many calories. So if you're just consuming those calories and you go to bed, those calories are going to be stored as body fat. I understand the premises behind that theory. However, most people throughout the day are not very active. Most people have desk jobs. Yes, there's some people like myself who are on their feet, people in construction who have physical jobs like manual labor for sure, people who work in restaurants who are running around. But most people sit behind a computer all day at a desk. It's a fairly sedentary job. They wake up, they drive to work, they put themselves down at their desk, they sit there for 8 hours, they get up, they drive back home. It's a fairly sedentary lifestyle. To believe that you're burning more calories sitting behind a desk on your computer than you are when you go home at night, sitting there watching TV and then going to bed is ridiculous. Okay. In fact, I would argue that you burn more calories sleeping than you do when you're sitting there on your computer working. Okay. So the whole ideology behind eating late at night will make you gain weight, there's no scientific data backing that. What I try to do with my clients, so my recommendation is that they give themselves about 2 to 3 hours after their last meal before they go to sleep. And it has nothing to do with putting on fat. It's more to do with that, if you go to bed on a full stomach, a lot of people have a hard time sleeping. So if you let your food digest for 2 or 3 hours, you might find that you get a better sleep. You go into more of an REM sleep, but that's the only reason. It has nothing to do with putting on fat. All right. So I have a lot of my clients that I work with online for nutritional plans. And let's say I put someone on, I don't know, 6 meals a day, for example. There's some people I put on 4 meals a day, 5 meals a day, 8 meals a day, whatever it is. I always tell people, I don't care when you have these meals. As long as you get them in a 24-hour span, I don't care when you have them. So for some people, that might mean eating late at night, and that's fine. As long as it doesn't disrupt their sleep, I have no problem with that. And I've yet to see anyone, if I'm working with on a weight loss diet, if I have them eating carbs at 11 o'clock at night, they still lose weight because as long as they're in a caloric deficit, as long as I'm rotating their macronutrients, as long as they're doing their cardio, their resistance training, they're following a supplement protocol, they're getting enough sleep, rest, recovery, they're hydrating well, they will lose body fat. All right. So don't be afraid to eat late at night. Just make sure that when you're eating at any part of day, at time of day, you're practicing proper portion control. Because if you overeat at any time of day, you're going to go into a caloric surplus. And if you're not burning those calories, they will get stored as body fat, period. It's that simple. Okay. So you don't need to overcomplicate things with timing your meals or what time of day works best. You got to eat what time of day works best for you. If you're someone that wakes up at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, your last meal might be at 2 o'clock in the morning. I see nothing wrong with that. You have to plug in your meals for your lifestyle, what suits your lifestyle, period. All right. The second biggest nutritional lie that people still believe, Carbs make you fat. The amount of people I still work with that can constantly believe that too much carbs will make them fat. It's insane. Here's the thing. Your body doesn't need carbohydrates to survive. This is true. They don't. You could go without carbs for the rest of your life and you would still survive. That's why the ketosis diet is so popular. People are always amazed when they go on keto. I'm never hungry. I'm losing all this weight. Well, yeah, because A, you're not really holding water. If you ever talk to anyone who's gone on a ketosis diet or the Atkins diet, they pee a lot because carbs hold water. If all you're having are fats and protein, you're not really going to hold any water. Period. So one of the reasons why people tend to be a little bit lighter when they're doing a ketosis diet is because they don't have any carbs in their body. And it's easier to lose weight too, because a lot of people, when they have carbs, they tend to overeat because they eat the wrong types of carbs. They eat simple carbs. And if you eat simple carbs, they're going to spike your insulin levels. If your insulin levels are spiked, guess what? Your blood sugar levels crash. If your blood sugar levels crash, guess what? You're going to be hungry. You're going to overeat. You're going to want more food. All right. So this is why I find it comical when people start demonizing carbohydrates. I'm like, no, no. You have to understand the difference between a simple carbohydrate versus a complex carbohydrate because they're very different. A simple carbohydrate is something that you would find in like muffins, cookies, anything that's very high in sugar. All right. Processed sugar, lots of enriched flour. Those are going to be simple carbohydrates. Now, if you're having something with a complex carbohydrate, yams, sweet potato, brown rice, white rice, oatmeal, cream of rice, these are what we call complex carbohydrates. They're not going to spike your insulin levels. They're not going to make your blood sugars levels crash. And if anything, if the food that you're containing, you combine that complex carb with a good fiber source like asparagus, broccoli, you're going to be full. Okay. Especially if you add in a healthy fat, extra virgin olive oil, omega-3 eggs, tablespoon of peanut butter, almond butter, cashew butter, a healthy fat. Okay. So it's not about carbs are going to make you fat. Yes, too much carbs will make you fat, especially if you're not burning them off. But too much protein will make you fat too. If you eat a whole bunch of chicken breasts throughout the day, don't kid yourself. If you're in a caloric surplus and you're not burning that off, you're going to gain fat. Of course, your calories will get stored as fat. They don't just automatically go to muscle because it's protein, right? So you're kidding yourself thinking that, oh, if I lower my carbs, I'm going to lose all this fat. Yes, that does work, but you have to, it's not because you're necessarily lowering your carbohydrates. You're also making sure that if you're following a diet like that, you're also doing your cardio. You're making sure that your fats are in check because you don't want to lose muscle. Because if all you do is start dropping your carbs and you're not training and you're not watching your other calories from fats and protein, you're going to lose muscle. And then you're just losing weight. All right. And I've talked about this in the past, the difference between losing weight versus losing fat. Do you want to lose weight or do you want to lose fat? If you want to lose fat, it's not just about eliminating all carbs. Okay. So we have to stop demonizing carbs. Carbs are not the enemy. I've done numerous shows over the years, and the lowest my carbs ever got were like 120 grams a day, ever. Because I was still being fairly active. There's other people I've had to work with, and I've had to bring their carbs a little bit lower because their metabolisms are slower. There's other people who have died on like 200 grams of carbs a day and they still lose body fat. So you have to figure out the formula that works for your body type. But to demonize all carbohydrates and say all carbs are bad, they're going to make you fat, it's simply not true. And that theory, that myth has to die back in the 90s with the Atkins diet. Okay. Yes, a lot of people find following ketosis diets to be fairly easy for the simple reason that fats allow you to stay fuller for a longer period of time. So it doesn't really feel like you're dieting when you're on a ketosis diet. But carbs are not the enemy. And if you are someone who resistance trains or you lift weights on a regular basis, like I do, you'll notice the more carbs that you have in your system, even pre or post workout, the stronger you are because you're replenishing glycogen storages. So are carbohydrates necessary? No, absolutely not. You could live without them. You need fats, you need protein for survival, but you don't need carbs. But I feel that if you are someone who's trying to build muscle long term and you're going to the gym with weights, complex carbohydrates are essential for that process. All right. The third biggest nutrition lie that people still believe, you need to eat 6 meals a day. Now, if you watched the Q&A earlier this week, I've talked about how I personally like to do 6 to 8 meals a day for myself and for a lot of the people I work with. But it has nothing, and I mean nothing, to do with spiking your metabolism or all these kooky things that people say, well, this is going to stimulate fat loss. Not true. No. The only reason I prefer smaller, more frequent meals is to stabilize blood sugar levels throughout the day. That is the only reason. That's it. Okay. I don't think you're going to lose fat any faster if you follow 6 meals a day versus if you do 3 meals a day. I truly don't. The problem with the old 3 meals a day theory is that what happens, people tend to overeat those meals. And when they overeat, people feel very lethargic. They feel very like tired and they just can't move. So what I did over the years and what a lot of people who work out do is they cut those meals in half and they space them out throughout the day. And that seems to work better for most people, myself included. I know that if I have a big meal, I'm really tired after. I want to have a nap. So if I keep my meals small, which for me are not very big, and I'm a 220 pound guy, but my meals are very small. It takes me less than 5 minutes to eat a meal, but I constantly have energy throughout the day. The food is not weighing me down. My body's not breaking this down. Anyone knows when they have a big meal afterwards, they feel very lethargic, very tired, right? I don't like that. I don't want my blood sugar levels to crash. So that's why I recommend having smaller, more frequent meals throughout the day. However, six is not a magical number. There's some people on my nutritional plans I mentioned earlier. I'll put them on 4 meals a day because that works better for them. Yes, they'll be larger meals, but it works for them. They're like, you know what? That actually feels better for me. I have other people on my plans that I give them 8 meals a day. I have one person right now I'm working with, I give them 10 small meals throughout the day. It just works better for them. And you just have to find again that formula that works for you. But don't kid yourself and say, well, 6 meals is the magic number of the day. I've never said that. That's my preferred that's my recommendation, I should say, for most people I work with. But again, that's just for the simple reason that I figure, okay, most people are up for, I don't know, like at least 16 hours a day, right? So if you're thinking 16 hours a day, 6 meals. So, ideally you're eating every 3, maybe every 4 hours in that case, right? It works really well. So that's why I find that works well. Because if you're doing like even 2 or 3 hours apart, perfect. That's why I do 6 meals. Other people, like I said, though, I've done 8 meals, sometimes 10 meals, and then they're eating every 1 or 2 hours apart. Okay. Other people I work with 4 meals, but that works better for them. So you really have to find a meal plan that works for you. My only recommendation is once you find the formula that's working, stay with it. Don't do 4 meals one day, 6 meals one day, 3 meals one day, one meal one day, because that's not good. Because again, you're going to keep your body guessing and guessing not in a good way. So that is a good way to spike your blood sugar levels and your insulin levels. So you don't want that to happen. Okay. So that's my only recommendation when you're putting together a structured meal plan. Find the formula that works for you. In my opinion, smaller, more frequent meals work best for the general population, but that's not for everyone. And it definitely doesn't have to be exactly 6 meals per day. All right. The fourth biggest nutrition lie that people still believe: detoxes cleanse your body. Oh, detoxes drive me nuts. When I first started out as a personal trainer, I always had to be super careful with my verbiage because I didn't want to tell someone, no, that's garbage, don't do that. But now that I've got 25 years on doing this job, I'm going to be honest, I hate detoxes. I think detoxes are stupid. That's my personal opinion. Now, I'm not saying they don't work. I just think they're stupid. All these people that say, I'm going to go on a cleanse and I'm going to wild rose cleanse, or I'm only going to drink water, or I'm only going to drink tea for 6 days, and all this gotta clear out my system. I'm gonna drink this funny little drink, whatever it is. Just clean up your damn diet. Just clean up your damn diet. Eat clean foods for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. There's your damn detox. Okay. It's not, well, I went on vacation, so now I'm going to detox. I'm like, detox? What the hell are you doing? Are you doing a bunch of drugs? Because whenever I hear the word detox, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, oh, wow, this person, they must have been on a drug binge and now they need to clear out the system. But when it comes to food, I'm like, no, fuck it. Sorry for my language, but if you have a shitty diet and that's why you're doing a detox, like, man, I've been eating really bad. I'm gonna go in a cleanse. I'm gonna do a detox. I'm like, to me, that's actually going to cause more harm than good because it's a shock to your body. If you've been fueling your body with junk food and fast food and drinking beer and drinking wine and drinking hard liquor, and you say, you know what, I'm going to go on a cleanse for a week, and all you have is water, for example, and maybe some, I don't know, some kind of low calorie drink that's going to at least allow you to stay alive, whatever these cleanses are on, like say the Wild Rose cleanse, for example. To me, that's a shock in a negative way to the body. It's too much on the body. And I think that stresses the body out way too much. It's going to elevate cortisol levels. I don't think that's good for the body. So rather than go from 0 to 100, I would just, when I work with someone like that, I'm like, okay, no problem. We're going to take step by step. Let's land this plane smoothly. Let's get you back on course again. All right. You took a nosedive down. Now we're going to glide you back up again and we're going to even you out. So we're going to start making good choices. It doesn't need to be perfect on day one. But hey, you know what? You had two clean meals and maybe you had two bad meals. 50% you're there. Maybe day two, you had two and a half good meals, maybe one and a half bad meal. Maybe day three, you had only one good meal, but you went to the gym. So as long as you're making improvements, little improvements, they're going to create or they're going to turn into big improvements. Okay. So that's why I always tell anyone I work with, let's not go from 0 to 100. We don't need to make drastic changes. Let's just start developing good habits slowly. All right. I know a lot of people out there go, no, I need to just cut it cold turkey. And sure, there's some people that can do that. But I feel like when you're doing a detox, I don't think that's a good way to reset the body. I truly don't. I just feel like that's a good way to stress out your body and not a good way. Okay. So when you're going from someone who has been really going from a diet, like I said, full of alcohol, full of fast food, full of takeout, and you take it all out and you just go, okay, we're just going to go on like a, a water diet. Whatever these people do in their cleanses, I've seen some kooky stuff with these cleanses. Eh, to me, again, I wouldn't recommend it. I do think that it's drastic and I don't think it's necessary. So detox cleanses, to me, I think they're stupid. And I'm just going to be honest, because now after doing this job for 25 years, I don't care. All right. If you disagree with me, that's great. If you're a client of mine and you disagree with me, that I respect your opinion, but respect mine. I don't believe in them. I think you can get the same, if not better results by just cleaning up your diet, period. All right. And the five biggest nutrition lie that people still believe: healthy foods can be eaten in unlimited amounts. I get this from people who come to work with me quite often. Nick, I'm following a clean diet, but I can't lose fat. And I'll look at that clean diet. I'm like, oh my God, you're eating more food than me. And you're only going to the gym 2 or 3 times a week. First of all, I'm impressed that you can eat all this food, but this is a lot of food. And I'm like here sitting at 220 pounds, working out 6, 7 days a week in the gym, and I'm not eating this much food. So and I'm looking, I'm like, man, if I were eating that much food, I probably would put on fat, even with my activity level. Even if I have a fast metabolism, which I do, I would still probably put on fat. Because no matter what I do, I'm looking at that diet, I'm like, you're in a caloric surplus. There's some diets that I've looked at, I'm not kidding you, they'll exceed 8,000 calories in a day. And I'm just scratching my head. I'm just like, how are you getting this all in? A lot of it is through drinking their calories. These protein shakes, these smoothies, they're loaded with calories, lots of sugar, lots of carbs, and that makes it a lot easier to get those calories in. But when I'm looking at these diets, I'm like, oh my God, look how much fruit's in your diet. Look how much sugar's in your diet. Like, well, fruit's good for you. I'm like, I'm not arguing with you. I'm not saying fruit's bad for you, but you're having a lot of fruit. You're having a lot of sugar. You're having a lot of carbs. So, yeah, of course, you're going to go into a caloric surplus. And I've said this for years. If you're in a caloric surplus or a macronutrient surplus and you're not burning off those calories, they're going to get stored as body fat, period. Okay, so this goes back to simplifying things. You're not losing weight because you're eating too much. I don't care if it's healthy food, you're eating too much. Even for myself, after my last bodybuilding show, I was trying to put some weight back on, but I did it very gradually. I didn't just go from having 120 grams of carbs a day to 600 grams of carbs. I built it up slowly. 50 grams of carbs every week I added into my day. So each day I would go, or sorry, each week I would add in 50-gram carb more than the previous week. Okay, so if I was doing 120 grams before the show, the next week I'd be doing 170 grams, and I would move up to 120 grams, 270 grams, and so on. Okay, so I did it very slowly, and I would monitor my physique. Oh, am I putting on some fat? Okay, let's scale it back a bit. All right, so you have to keep a watchful eye. So don't kid yourself and just think because you're following a healthy diet, you can eat unlimited amounts of food. The best way, and I say this to all my clients, the most effective way to lose fat, besides doing cardio, besides exercising, is practicing portion control. I truly believe that if you are serious about losing weight and you have a goal in your mind, you want to lose 20, 30, 40, 100 pounds, you are doing yourself a disservice if you do not have a food scale. Because if you have a food scale, there's no room for error. Okay, you have a nutrition plan. You're going to eat 125 grams of rice. You put that rice on the food scale, that's all you're getting. That's your portion. It's done for the day. No more. You're not going back for seconds. You're not going back for thirds. You're not eyeballing it. Okay, that's a really big mistake a lot of people make is they eyeball their food and people tend to overestimate. People, just like in the gym, they overestimate how many calories they're burning. Um, or I guess I should say they underestimate how much food they're consuming. Okay. So what they might think is a half a cup, it's really like a cup and a half. I've seen it. I've had clients send me photos of their food. I'm like, yeah, that's not a half a cup of rice. That's like sometimes even 2 cups. Like, no, no, I measured it. I'm like, yeah, but you measured it in a heaping tablespoon of rice or a heaping cup of rice, right? Heaping half a cup. So no, you got to measure it. You got to weigh it out. Take seconds to do. All right. So you can't kid yourself and think just because you're eating healthy that you're going to lose weight. If you are still in a caloric surplus, if you are still in a macronutrient surplus and you are trying to lose weight, you are not going to lose weight. You won't. I promise you, it's not going to happen. You need to go into somewhat of a deficit, not a severe deficit, but you need to go into somewhat of a macronutrient deficit The macronutrient you need to be going down on will depend on where you're at if you're training, how often you're training, what your fitness level is. It's not always carbs. I'll tell you that right now. It's not always carbs as much as people like to blame carbs. It's not. Sometimes I have to lower people's fats. Sometimes I have to lower people's proteins. So that's why I'm a firm believer in rotating macronutrients on a weekly basis. If you worked with me before, you know I do that with all my nutrition plans. I rotate macronutrients. Okay. So don't kid yourself thinking that, hey, now that I'm eating healthy, I can just have whatever I want. That will not work. And it's a surefire way to put on body fat. I can promise you that right now. Anyway, that's it for this week's coaching reality episode. This episode will be coming out on Wednesday, July the 15th. As a reminder, if you have any questions related to your nutritional plan, workout program, supplements you are currently taking, not taking, or considering taking, please feel free to email me those questions at nick@foreverfitperformance.com, or you can DM me your questions on my Instagram at fitcosgrove_. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for supporting my YouTube channel, my online coaching business, my in-house personal training business here in Vancouver, British Columbia. I truly do appreciate all the support and all the feedback. I also appreciate when you like and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me. We're getting a lot of new subscribers on the channel, so that really means a lot when I see the support. It motivates me to keep putting out as much content as I possibly can. Like I said, I'm here to educate, but I'm also here to learn from others, and I'm okay with people like challenging my opinions. I'm okay with that. I'm always open to dialect. I want to hear from you. So if you have any comments, leave them below, send me a DM, give me your feedback. Do you agree with these nutrition lines? Do you follow them? Do you say, no, I believe in cleanses, they work well. I don't eat after 6 p.m. at night. That works great. Great. I'm not suggesting that people don't do these. I'm just saying that in my experience, they're not necessary. And it's something that has become a way to overcomplicate things in the fitness industry when it's really not that complicated. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next week. Bye for now.